rise.
Members of the House of Assembly, a commission has been issued by His Honour the Brigadier General, the Honourable J.J. Grant, Lieutenant Governor of Nova Scotia, which I shall read as follows. Whereas the present General Assembly of the Province of Nova Scotia was summoned to meet on Friday, the 16th day of June next, then to be begun and held at Halifax, for which the date the said General Assembly will meet for the dispatch of business, and it is such so as much as I cannot conveniently be present as Legislature until the members who have been elected to serve the House of Assembly have elected their Speaker. Now therefore I have thought fit to require and command you, and do hereby require and command you, to convey and declare to the members of the House of Assembly that I will defer declaring the causes for which I have summoned them to the Assembly until the House of Assembly has elected a Speaker, which shall be present in the said House for my approbation, given under my hand and seal at arms this 13th day of June on the year of our Lord 2017, in the 66th year of Her Majesty's reign, Brigadier General the Honourable J.J. Grant, Lieutenant Governor of Nova Scotia.
I have the honour to table the returns of the most recent general election and to report that the members present in the House have taken the oath and signed the roll, and they therefore claim the right to take their seats in this place. At this point, we do not have a Speaker, and as the Chief Clerk, it falls to me to oversee the election of a Speaker. And so I will accept nominations for the office of the Speaker of the House of Assembly. Premier.
It is my honour. I am proud to nominate the member from Eastern Shore, Mr. Kevin Murphy.
Does the member accept the nomination?
I do.
Are there any further nominations? There being no further nominations, I declare the Speaker elected, the honourable member for the Eastern Shore.
Please be seated. Honourable members of the House of Assembly, I thank the House for the great honour it has bestowed upon me. I will do my best to uphold the prestige and high tradition of the Speaker's office. I respectfully ask the assistance and cooperation of all the honourable members. I will now, before we get to that, is this where I can insert my own comments? My trusty clerk. The two bosses have spoken. I happen to have a couple of notes. I do want to, just before we proceed with the election of the deputy speakers, first of all, thank you, Mr. Premier, very much for your nomination and your faith in me. I very much appreciate it. I want to thank all the members of the Assembly for your continued faith, for those returning members and for those new members. I welcome you all aboard, and it's a very privileged group that we have here. And as the Chief Clerk mentioned during the swearing-in ceremonies, it should not be lost on anybody at any time when you're sitting in your seat here that you're among a very special group of people who have had the privilege to call themselves Nova Scotians, but a very, very select group that have had the privilege to sit in this House and represent your communities and the province of Nova Scotia as we aim to make this a better place for everybody. A couple of quick housekeeping items before I proceed. Mrs. Speaker, who's sitting in the Speaker's gallery here with me, has said from day one, going back to 2013, and as evidenced by, if you've noticed, the subtle mouse traps in the corner in many of these rooms in this great grand building, that we should have a assembly cat. So this is one of the initiatives that I'm going to work on in this term. I also want to mention, as a matter of housekeeping, to the new Minister of Education, I have strict orders from your mom to keep things in order with you. So. It also dawned on me in the last 24 hours since receiving word that this is my second term as Speaker, and I've not had an opportunity to sit in my place on the floor of this Assembly and give my address in reply to the speech to the throne. So if you'll indulge me for the next 50 minutes or so, I just want to let you know that going back to 1970, I was born the humble child of the former Speaker's calling for a recount here already. So. But I do want to thank all members for the humble opportunity to sit here in this dais and preside over these proceedings in this House on behalf of all Nova Scotians. It's not lost on me what a great responsibility it is. Not only for me, but for each of you, and you have my word that I'll do my absolute best to ensure that every single member of this Assembly gets a fair and honest and unbiased shake at bringing the concerns of their communities forward as we again aim collectively to make Nova Scotia a better place for everybody. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. So now we'll move on and we'll accept nominations for the position of Deputy Speaker in the 63rd General Assembly. The Honourable Government House Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I hereby give notice that on a future day I shall move the adoption of the following resolution. Be it resolved that the Honourable Member for Hants West and the Honourable Member for Lunenburg be the Chairman of the Committees and Deputy Speakers of the House of Assembly. The member for Hants West be the Deputy Speaker within the meaning of subsection 14.3 of the House of Assembly Act and within the meaning of the House of Assembly Management Committee Act. The annual salary of the Deputy Speaker, established pursuant to the House of Assembly Act, be divided equally between the two chairmen of committees and deputy speakers. Mr. Speaker, I request waiver of notice and passage without debate.
There has been a request for waiver. Is it agreed? No. I hear several noes. Motion is tabled. The Honourable Government House Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Pending the disposition of the previous motion and to ensure we have a Deputy Speaker in the interim, I therefore nominate the member for Hants West as Deputy Speaker.
Does the member for Hants West accept the nomination?
I do.
Are there any further nominations? The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, I have the honour to nominate for Deputy Speaker the member for Sydney River, Myra-Lewisburg.
Does the Honourable Member for Sydney River, Myra-Lewisburg accept the nomination?
Yes.
The Honourable Leader of the New Democratic Party.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I I'm pleased to place in nomination for the position of Deputy Speaker the member for Truro, Bible Hill, Millbrook, Salmon River.
Does the honourable member for Truro, Bible Hill, Millbrook, Salmon River accept the nomination?
I do.
Okay, we'll now proceed with the election for deputy speakers, and I'll ask the clerks to distribute the ballots. The honourable leader of the official opposition.
Mr. Speaker, could I ask that you clarify the method of voting? Is it a simple plurality of votes when there's multiple candidates, or will we have subsequent ballots until someone gets 50%? I think all members would like to know how this eventually will be determined.
Order, please. So the clerks will distribute the ballots, and there will be a secret ballot cast. The names of, or the members will be asked to write down the name of the member they wish to occupy the position of deputy speaker. And the rule book says if one candidate receives a majority of the votes cast, that candidate shall be declared elected. If no candidate receives the majority of the vote cast, the candidate in third position or receiving the fewest votes ceases to become a candidate. And then we'll proceed with the second vote. Okay. We'll adjourn for a couple of minutes while the clerks distribute the ballots. Order, please. Just before we ask the clerks to collect the ballots, I just want assurance that every member received a ballot. Okay, I'll ask the clerks to collect the ballots. Clerks will now collect the ballots in the traditional speaker's hat. Order, please. The clerks will now retire to the anteroom to count the ballots, and I invite the House leaders for all parties to attend as scrutineers. And the House will adjourn for a couple of minutes while we await the result. Order, please. Chief Clerk has advised me that one candidate received the majority of the votes, more than 50%. Therefore, I now declare the honourable member for Hants West the Deputy Speaker. The Honourable Government House Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I hereby give notice that on a future day I shall move a resolution in the following form. Therefore, be it resolved that pursuant to Rule 60 of the Rules and Forms of Procedure, a special committee be appointed whose duty it shall be to prepare and report with all convenient speed lists of members to compose the standing committees of the House, and that the standing committees be constituted for the life of this Assembly. The list be deposited in the office of the Chief Clerk, and that the standing committees be established with full authority from the date the lists are deposited in the office of the Chief Clerk. The Chair and Vice Chair of each standing committee be the members named as Chair and Vice Chair of that committee. The Chair and Vice Chair of a standing committee may be replaced by another member of the same party, by the House Leader of the member's party filing a notice to that effect with the Chief Clerk and the committee. Notwithstanding paragraph 5D of Rule 60, where the House is not sitting, the notice representing the replacement of a member of the standing committee is effective upon filing with the Chief Clerk and the Chair of the committee, and the notice may be tabled upon the House's next sitting. The standing committee be severally empowered to examine and inquire into all matters and things as may be referred to them by this House. And the standing committee be severally empowered to, from time to time, report to this House their observations and opinions. The special committee be composed of the following 5 members: the member for Argyle-Barrington, the member for Clare-Digby, the member for Glace Bay, the member for Halifax Atlantic, and the member for Sackville-Cobequid. Further, Mr. Speaker, in accordance with Rule 33, I ask that the normal notice for this motion be dispensed with and that this resolution be now adopted. Mr. Speaker, I request waiver of notice.
Is it agreed that the notice is waived? Agreed. It is agreed. Would all those in favour of the motion please say aye? Aye. Contrary minded, nay? Motion is carried.
His Honour, the Lieutenant Governor, is without.
Let His Honour be admitted.
His Honour, the Lieutenant Governor. It is the wish of His Honour, the Lieutenant Governor, that the ladies and gentlemen be seated.
all, on behalf of all members of this Assembly, let me extend our gratitude to you and Mrs. Grant for the distinguished honor that both of you have shown when you've been representing the Queen in our province, whether it's in small communities in rural parts of our province or in this beautiful capital city. Both of you have been distinguished representatives of Her Majesty, and I would say all members of this House feel blessed that we've had a chance in our small time and elected office to interact with you and Mrs. Grant. And on behalf of all of us, I wish you the very best as you move into retirement and back home to Pictou County.
Thank you.
May it please your honor, the House of Assembly, agreeable to your honor's command, have proceeded to the choice of a speaker and have elected Kevin Murphy of the electoral district of the Eastern Shore to the office, and by its direction, I present him for the operation of your honor.
I approve of the Speaker whom the House of Assembly has chosen.
Your Honor's ready approval of the choice with which I have been honored by this House, having constituted me in due form Speaker of the House of Assembly, it has now become my duty in the name of the representatives of Her Majesty's loyal subjects, the people of this province, respectfully to demand all their accustomed rights and privileges, and that they shall have freedom of speech in their debates, and that they may be free from arrest during their attendance in Parliament, and that I, as their Speaker, may have free access to your Honour's person.
I most cheerfully grant your request. I declare that this House is now in session.
His Honor, the Speaker.
The Honourable Government House Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the House do now rise and meet again at the call of you, the Speaker.
Is it agreed? Agreed. It is agreed. The House now stands adjourned.